Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Pratik and you're watching Sports Question, where we just don't talk about sports on the surface but in depth. And sorry for the long absence. I didn't take a complete break for the last 2 or a couple of days, but yeah, I was busy with some or other things that was going on. Like I was doing some other things. I do have an art channel as well, art Instagram page as well, and yeah. And another surprising thing which I did was I wrote some music. Yeah, I can't sing well, but yeah, I just wrote a few lines of musical notes. And turns out I do have a talent in it as well. It was fine, but yeah. Back to the channel. This was just an apology, small apology that I didn't make any videos in the couple of days. And today we are back with another special content which is related to football for a change because we talk about cricket a lot on this channel right now. Uh, Basically, bearing one or two videos, I have only talk about cricket and cricket about India and England that is going on. And yeah, there are also other matches going on as well, but yeah, I couldn't get the time to cover that. But today we are talking about football, especially we are starting a new series that is known as Transfer Circus. So we will be talking about all the transfers that happened, the big ones right now in this video, as well as some rumors which are going on out there, which can shape up to be really interesting for the season. Obviously, any season and every season that happens is really a fun one to watch all across the world in the world of football. Some really interesting matches happen, and considering how the season went last season, it's gonna be really fun to watch because now most of the teams which didn't have that streak of not winning a trophy are not there, bearing some. Yes, there are some which I just don't know who we are talking about, but yeah, there there are some obvious ones. So yeah, back to the topic of transfers. We transfer is incomplete without the rumors, and rumors are actually important. And there have been pretty interesting transfers going on right now, and let's get into it. Obviously, the first big one is the transfer of transfer of Hugo Etiquette. Sorry for the pronunciation. And he's going from Enrich Frankfurt to Liverpool for a whooping 90 odd mil package, and which is actually crazy because if we think about it, the pro he came into Enrich Frankfurt when they sold Koulibaly to PSG. I'm talking about the business that Enrich Frankfurt does, and it's one of the best to do business out there in the footballing world. They bought in Koulibaly for something like 20 million, and then sold him for 96 odd million something to PSG, and bought in uh, Etiquette for 15 to 20 odd mil, and now his price is around 90 plus in the transfer market, and Mulani's is 30 million something, which is crazy to think about that how these are feeder clubs, obviously. Some of them are Benfica, then there is others like Borussia Dortmund, which just do business really well as compared to other clubs out there. But yeah, it is a great thing, and I think so it will be really interesting to see who they bring in, because whoever they brings in, that player, that and it will be a striker for sure. That striker will take the footballing world by storm, and it would be really interesting to watch what will happen. And yeah, Liverpool are doing really big business this summer after winning that Premier League. I think they are going to be another force to reckon in the European competitions, along with PSG and obviously Chelsea, who are the kings of making the big bucks and spending the ones. But yeah, so Etiquette, the French striker, is going to Liverpool along with Frimpong, then Kirkish, and obviously the big signing of Florian Wirtz. Now it is looking much more stronger outfit, and along with the emergence of Etiquette, there are news that the duo of Federico Chiesa and Luis Diaz can be going out. Although it's not confirmed about Luis Diaz, but Chiesa would be leaving Liverpool. Although I do feel sad for him because he was a great talent. We all remember that Euros campaign that he had. And unfortunately, he becomes so injury prone when he returned from it and when he was in Juventus. And he didn't play much matches for Liverpool as well. And now they have to make space for so many signings that they have had, as I mentioned. It is sad to see how Chiesa is being treated as far as his career is going. He was a really brilliant talent, and Luis Diaz as well. Although there is no confirmed news that he might leave, there is some news that Bayern Munich is really interested. The rumors are there, but it would be really interesting to see how his role going into the season would be. Although he is still in the squad and is in the preseason tour as well. So it would be interesting how the things developed, and it would be a very thrilling combo of who Liverpool keeps and who they sell, because there is clear indication that Darwin Luan has to leave, and a lot of other things as well, which which we totally don't know about much, but hopefully they figure out something. Now going from Liverpool to another one of the most successful clubs in English football, that is Manchester United. And finally, they have made the signing of Bumo. Yes, he is finally a United player. I mean the catch the cat and mouse race between Brentford and United was going on. I was thinking that this deal may get collapsed. Although they didn't spend much on him, I do feel it's still an overpriced sale. Buy actually. Say it's a very good sale for Brentford, obviously, but it I do feel like he might just might could he could have been bought for a bit less. But yeah, what can we say about it? Because United in the recent times have done really bad business. And if we compare it to this two business that did have done in Matthias Kuna and Brian Bumo, it's just interesting to see that how they go in with this transfer strategy, because comparatively they are paying less as compared to what they used to pay. They haven't done 100 million signings of in the recent years. I do feel like they will do it, but yeah, it would be really interesting to see. But yeah, there are other rumors that they are looking for a goalkeeper, and obviously they need one, as Tom Heaton is also almost done with the. They have offered him extension, but he don't play as well. Then Binder might also leave, and you can't trust Onana. Obviously, you can't. And I do have a soft corner for United, but at the same time, I know this club is in a total There are no words to express that. What can we even say about it? There is a lot of mismanagement going on in that club, and yeah, but still, there is news that they are looking to buy a keeper into the squad, and there is initial talks and conditions, deal conditions, which have been discussed with 23-year-old keeper Sene Lemens, who would be an interesting pick for United, as we would be interested to see what he can bring to the table. But there is also some interesting news that Dibu Martinez might leave Aston Villa, and United is in contact with him as well. But he is a very expensive buy, and they don't want to spend so much on the goalkeeper as they have done on regular occasions. But it would be interesting to see how things proceed. And there is a different news leak rumor that United is interested in Gyökeres as well, which I thought was the case before as well. But Ruben Amorim has already said many things about it, and I don't think Gyökeres will leave his spot for Arsenal, as he wants to focus on Arsenal as well, which would be an ideal destination for him as well, because Arsenal wants a striker, Gyökeres wants a club which he would be love at. So it seems like a match made in heaven. Although Arsenal needs to be wary of one thing, that Gyökeres had previously played in the English football circuit, although for some really weaker sides, and also he played for Brighton, but he couldn't make a cut in the team, which is pretty interesting to see, because Brighton always harvest so many great talent. But that's the thing, the English football pace and everything is quite different from Sporting. And yes, he did play well in the Champions League as well, but I still am skeptical about this move, because such big moves have obviously flopped in recent times, and we don't want another one to flop. Also, a bit on etiquette is that he's coming from Bundesliga, obviously, and in recent times, Premier League sides who have got talent from Bundesliga haven't done much of things well. es- Even if we talk about Jeremy Frimpong, he's coming from Bayer Leverkusen, but yeah, especially Chelsea, who invested in Kai Havertz and Timo Werner, but unfortunately, they couldn't do much, although they did win a UCL, but they still couldn't do really much and have a significant impact of their own in the Premier League. But it would be interesting to see how these new players will come into the Premier League English football and how they will adjust to the pace of it. And that's the only thing that is concerning for Arsenal as well as Victor Gyökeres. Plus, there is news that Sporting would be going. Sporting is already moving. They are looking, as Gyökeres has said, he won't play for Sporting anymore. They are looking and talk. There are talks going with Almeida that for the striker Luis Suarez, not the one we all know about, but the other one, and there is good talks going on between them, and agreement is close, as Fab has reported. Yes, most of our reports and most of our talk of transfer would be covered by Fab, because we all know that if there is one person we everyone actually believe in, and that is Fab. Other news is that from one of Gyökeres' ex-club, that is Brighton, and Brighton has completed the deal of even Ferguson to Roma, which is an interesting move, because for me, even Ferguson is a very, very young and prospected talent who can still give a good time for many of the Premier League teams. Although he didn't get enough chances as he is injury prone, but I still believe he has a lot of potential and a lot of things that he can give to the English sides, some places like and a big club as well. But I'm surprised that none of the big clubs went for it, and an Italian side like AS Roma, which don't do much of a business, they don't spend huge bucks. None of the Italian side does, but still, it was really interesting to see, and that such a young talent is not there, not going to be there. Another thing about United that I did forget about is that Rashford has finally left the club, but on a loan deal, obviously, to one and only by FC Barcelona, where he wanted to go even 1 or 2 seasons prior, but unfortunately couldn't go. Things didn't materialize, and now he has finally gone on loan to FC Barcelona, and he would be the first player since Gary Lineker to play for Barcelona. Barca have obviously tried to make much more sense about this deal because they wanted a winger obviously, and most of the deals such as the Nico Williams deal failed, and other deals also were not on par. Like Luis Diaz also was in talks with Barcelona. There were talks that Luis Diaz might go to Barca, but that also didn't materialize, and unfortunately it didn't work. And finally it was Rashford, and Barca is going to cover 100% of his salary, and if things work out, they have a 30 million buyout clause, which would be great for United as well. So overall it would be a great deal for every single one concerned, but it would depend on Rashford. Just like he can play well, but he can play well. That's the only thing that keeps him away from being one of the best players to play this game. And we have seen that he is a great player, and it would be interesting to see. Now going to another Premier League side, that is the one which have been really successful, but unfortunately last season they tend to falter a lot. And the big news is that Ederson might leave Manchester City. So there were talks that either of Ederson or Ortega might have to leave the club, but unfortunately it has to be Ederson because age is not on his side, as well as his reflexes have come down a little, and a lot of things are concerned. And Ortega have shown a bit of promise, and he looks much more sharper as compared to Edison. Or obviously, no doubt to Edison. Edison is a great player, a great goalkeeper, and he still have a lot to give to a lot of teams. But unfortunately, there are talks that he has to leave, and the thing is, he won't leave European football altogether, as Galatasaray is aware of the situation he is in Manchester City, and they are in talks with Ederson, and the talks are going on personal terms. So that City hasn't received any official transfer request or bid, but let's see if this thing goes on. I think it would be a great thing for City as well as Galatasaray. It would be a great signing. Another thing is if Ederson leaves, who will replace him? So there were talks that maybe someone like Martinez is there. Then there are a lot of other team goalies which can be looked out for. But an interesting pick is the pick of James Trafford. So James Trafford was a upcoming goalie who is also a product of City's own academy. Unfortunately, they let go of him, and he went to Burnley, and he had an absolute banger of a season for a goalkeeper in Burnley. The championship, obviously, the difference is quite large, but still, he was unbelievable. He was totally like a wall for Burnley, and that is one of the reasons why they have obviously gotten promoted and now in the top tier once again after dropping one season prior. But yeah, it would be really interesting to see how James Trafford and Manchester City go in hand. There are talks going on. There is talks with Burnley, and to reduce 40 million pound buyback clause that they have instilled. Plus, deal still depends on the goalkeeper exit. So a lot of things is going on that side of the Manchester as well. And City have already done more or less of their business in the mid-season transfer last season, and the start of the transfer market. And it would be really interesting to see who City will bring back, and if Edison will leave City. And yeah, and obviously Kevin De Bruyne have also left. So it would be only a matter of time to see what happens. And now let's go to a different side of England, and that is the London side, the Blues of London, the undisputed, as we have started calling them since the past few years, a year or two or more. It has been 3 or 4, maybe. No, two, 2 or 3. They have done so much transfers and so much changes, chopping changes, that I can't even remember which year this is. I think 2 or 3, 2 or 3. Chelsea. They do so much business in this transfer market that we just can't think of when things happen. Like, I can't even remember when Madrid deal happened. I just think that that happened last year, but I think it happened 2 years prior, which is absolutely crazy to think. But now they are selling, obviously, and there is talks between Atletico Madrid and Chelsea that Atletico Madrid is interested in buying Renato Vega, which will be a very interesting and nice signing for them, because Renato Vega was obviously, as the season was coming to an end, a key part in Chelsea's side as well, because he was really rock solid. He had a lot of good uh, dribblings and a lot of good defensive work as well. And the contact with the players side has already taken place, and Renato Vega is actually keen for the move, which is absolutely great for Atletico Madrid as well. And last season, obviously, they took Conor Gallagher from Chelsea, which was again an interesting move. And it did work out a bit or more for Atletico. And Chelsea won 40 million pound, which is 40 million euro, which is again a bit too much for Atletico, but it would be interesting to see how the talks takes place, and the negotiation are still going on. And another thing is, Mamadou Sarr has gone back to Strasbourg, and it was revealed last night by Fab, obviously. And that means that the young prospect of Aaron Anselmino won't be joining the French club. And wait, I did I just say a young prospect? I mean, everyone in Chelsea is obviously young, except the owner, who actually has gotten the hang of things. And it is really interesting to see how Chelsea shapes, and if they do any business in this coming transfer, because it would be really interesting to see that as well. And now Chelsea are looking at different options for the Argentini defender, and a lot of, and this was a really nice news. Another key news which shocked me is that Ricardo Rios has completed his move to Benfica from Palmeiras, which is a very interesting side, because I thought that he is a target, he is a player which will suit in most of the sides all across Europe, and I mean the big ones. Maybe a Borussia Dortmund or Bayern Munich could have gotten him, or even the likes of Arsenal. Then there was Spurs. Then there was, maybe United could have gone for him. Then the big ones in Atletico Madrid or any Spanish side, even the Italian sides like AC Milan, or even someone like Juventus would have gone for him. But he has closed a deal with Benfica, which would be really interesting because if we see that his progress, he grows more and more into it. He's a Colombian player, obviously. I hope he grows more and more and more into it, and eventually he becomes a much better player than he is right now. He's actually a very good player, and it just surprises me that none of the big teams have gone for him when he was getting a bit cheaper right now, because we know Benefica is has a player, they do business like there is no tomorrow. They will ask for a very good price and they will get it somehow. And no disrespect to anyone, but Benefica is one of the most toughest negotiators in modern day football that we have seen in most times, which is nice again because it just keeps the footballing thing going on. And the last news for today is Alvaro Morata, the person who, for some reason, many of the people out in the footballing community knows is the money laundering scheme for most or every one of them, has decided to join Como and become their player from Galatasaray. Now, it was a very interesting choice for him, and I know it will be interesting to see because he is still in contract with AC Milan, and I thought I thought that he might complete his move to Galatasaray, but unfortunately he couldn't because Victor Osimhen, which we will talk in a bit, has decided to re-sign with Galatasaray, which is great news for them as well. The condition for Gala to break Morata rule deal and send him back to Italy is to join a new striker, which is completed with the arrival of Osimhen. So they don't need Morata. Morata needed new home, and Como came calling, and it would be really interesting to see how he adjusts and fit into this Como side, because this Como side is actually a great side, and I didn't expected them to stay this season, but they stayed, and it is so fantastic to watch that they are playing another season in the top tier of Italian football. Now back to Osimhen. He and Galatasaray have a special relationship, and obviously it is a great signing for all parties involved again. And it would be really interesting to see how Oshimin, who is obviously a top tier striker, had the chance to go to Saudi. But as we all know, once you go to Saudi, it becomes really tough for a player to come back into European circuit, because for some reason the European teams don't like to bring back those players right away into the European in their teams, because maybe the standard or and everything involved is not on par with European football, or maybe they do feel a bit hurt with a player going out of their league and to a league which is not as popular, all just for money. And obviously, Oshiman is still one of the best strikers in this world, but his issues with Napoli and everything has resulted in him not staying there. We have to remember that he still was one of the key personnel who made Napoli the crown after so long, made Napoli the champions after so long. Sorry, the crown, they brought the crown back to Naples, obviously. And yeah, so the deal is like this: Galatasaray pays 40 million right now, 35 million in 1 year, 10% of for the profit, and also a goal-based bonus. So a lot of things are included in his contractual basis to Napoli, and Napoli will gain a lot of things from him. And Victor cannot be sold to any of the Italian sides, which is absolutely mind-boggling as well. but it is good to see that the Nigerian is going to a place where he will be loved, where he loves to play, and it would be really interesting to watch him because I think so. After a year or two, he will go to a very big club, and you can just tape it and rerun it again when that happens. But yeah, I'm sure he will, and that would be really interesting to see that one transfer. And this is all from this episode of Transfer Circus. Hope you liked all the transfer news and everything. And just a small uh, transfer rumor as well that many are talking about that Rodrigo is leaving Real Madrid. Rodrigo has his transfer his talks with the club and everything, Real Madrid. And I do feel like he might be a person who a lot of clubs would like to have because he just put his heart out to the team, heart out for the badge and everything. So I do think he might get a big offer if he does leave. And there are talks going on, a lot of talks in the footballing community that he might go to Liverpool. This Liverpool side is looking really, really scary, isn't it, guys? So that is all with from this episode. Hope you liked it. Do like, do show your love. Subscribe to the channel. I will bring you more such updates, and hope to see you all soon in our next episode as well, which would be another cricketing or maybe a footballing episode. I just don't know right now, but yeah, I will bring you latest news and latest updates of every and anything that happens. So I'll see you tomorrow, maybe. This is your host Pratik, and we're signing out. Bye, guys. Take care.